So last night I read Superman Birthright by Mark Waid, Lionel Francis Yu, and Jerry Allen Gellin. Pardon me if I messed up that last name. And to be honest, there's not a whole lot to say about this book other than that it's fantastic. Mark Waid, he's been praised many times. He wrote Kingdom Come. His knowledge of the DC universe is unrivaled, unparalleled by anybody else. And he just continues to exceed expectations when I read his book, any of his books, and they're great. They truly are great, um, and this is no exception with that rule. Um, I just wanted to take a longer form to talk about some of the things that I really did like. For example, the scene, I don't know, maybe quarter way, third of the way through, um, where Superman stops a school shooting, and he goes back to um, the gun store owner, the person that sold those kids the gun, and he said, "This 9-year old girl, I stopped the shooting. This 9-year old girl looked down the barrel of a gun, and she felt true fear." And then Superman picks up the gun and shoots the guy, but before it hits him, he catches the bullet and says, "Now you'll know that fear too." And I was like, that is crazy. Superman shooting somebody and then stopping the bullet before it even hits. I was that part. I was like, damn, that's cool. That is cool. Um, but let's talk about the origin real fast. I thought the origin was really good. I really liked, how the first little bit, the little the Krypton bit. I really liked, and I really liked how they sent Superman to Earth, and then I really liked, I was conflicted at first, but then I really ended up liking Lex Luthor and Clark Kent knowing each other in Smallville before their stint in Metropolis. But I mean, yeah, I thought that whole origin was really good. I like how they made the suit. I really liked the dynamic between father and son, between Clark and Joseph. I thought that was phenomenal. When Superman picks him up, or his dad's beating on the rocket with Superman's rocket with a sledgehammer, and it falls down, like the building starts collapsing, the farm starts collapsing in on itself. So Superman swoops in and flies him up above, and he's like, we need to talk. You've been acting weird, you've been acting distant, and we need to talk. And Superman's dad's like, no, I'm good, I'm fine. It's just nothing. And Superman realizes that he's never once, taken his dad for a flight, and it was just that human moments of despite being the father to Clark Kent, he's still spiteful that his son never took him, flying. Just small moments like that. He has a small moment like that with his mom later in the book, and I really liked that. Um, yeah, just overall the moments in the book and the ending. Oh boy, the ending. So Lex is reaching out to, if I got this right, if I understood this right, he's reaching out to Krypton, but it's not Krypton. It's past. It's like visions, or like glimpses of Krypton. So like how when we see a star, we're seeing it from like, I think they say like 12 million years in the past or something. So like that star could be dead, but we're seeing the light is just now reaching us. I think that's what it was. I think he's seeing visions. He's seeing clips of Krypton from thousands and thousands and thousands of years before that it exploded, and he's seeing that, and he's trying to contact them, I believe. Because the very, that might have completely debunked my theory, because at the very end, just before Jor-El and Lara die, um, they see like this vision of Superman saying, "Mother, Father, I'm okay," and they kiss, and then Krypton explodes. So I could completely debunk my theory, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's still really creative. I still really like that. I still really like how um, Lex Luthor's plan was to make it look like Superman was invading Earth with his Kryptonian allies, and how he did that was he looked, like I said, he looked at an astral projection of a Kryptonian ship, and projected that across Metropolis. So it was like two-thirds fake army, two-thirds fake army, and then he had like hired guns and stuff. I don't know. I just thought the whole plot was really good. It was well written, and the characters were well written. Lois Lane's relationship with Clark, and holy cow, there was some moments in there where I was like, that's a little personal. Like, um, the old when they're at the bar and they said Perry wants a rewrite by the morning, and that's how they ditch people. They ditch Superman, or they ditch Clark Kent at the old bar just so they could lose him and he could go home. And I don't know, just that look of sadness when because he's Superman, he's got super hearing. He hears them say that, and he's like, I don't know. I just felt really bad for him there, but then also like, he's Superman, but it's hard to say because you're on a planet alone, completely alone. You have nobody that understands you. And Lex Luthor, that was the plot of Lex Luthor's story, is that nobody understood him except for Clark. And I don't know, that whole story. But like I said, I just Lex Luthor's origin, and I know I'm jumping back and forth through this book, but it's a really good book. And you're just hearing me talk about my opinions on it. So like if you want to read it, go read it. I suggest reading it. It's really good. But anyways, Lex Luthor, he exposes Clark to kryptonite at a young age, and he like loses it and starts beating on, calling a farm hick because he thinks that Superman was grossed out or scared of him, when in reality, he's reacting to the kryptonite. And I don't know. I was just kind of like, that could have been done better. But I don't know. I digress. Overall, I give it, I'm going to say a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. I really liked the story. I really liked the art by, I forget who the artist was. I know it's Lionel Francis Yu and Jerry. I don't know his last name, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but it's one of them. I think one of them's the artist and the other is like the inker or the penciler, I don't know. But overall, I thought it was really good. I give it a 9 out of 10, and you should obviously pick it up from a local comic book store. I say that every time, and I'm going to continue to say that because supporting them is how we get to do what we do, how we read our comics. And you can get it online, you can get it straight from the source, but you're not supporting, that middleman. But yeah, get it from a local comic book store, and tell me in the comments what you think about it, and don't forget to like and subscribe.